It's a talking live, but TikTok has a thing where you're not supposed to talk too much early on. I'm gonna let somebody up here when we get to 2K likes. Keep tapping. Almost there. How you for humanity, but you got American flag in your profile picture? How you for humanity, and you got the most inhumane flag symbol ever created in your profile picture? That don't make no sense.
What's
Peace.
going on, brother legend? How are you?
Hey, I'm good. Give us your age, race, and pronouns, please.
Um, oh shoot, that was quick. So I am a Black American. I am 36, and pronouns aren't hard. I'm a he, him.
All right, talk to us.
Cool. So it looks like the premise of the live is, can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse, right? And I think years ago I would completely disagree with that, but now that I've seen brothers who have non-black spouses be pro-black, yeah, you definitely can. You
Name
definitely
one.
can. Like my personal friends, I'd
What is
rather not name
what are
my
your
personal
what
friends.
are your Yeah, I didn't know if it was your personal friends or not. You just said people that you've seen. So I thought you meant in the public domain, but
No,
if
no,
not,
no.
then
I don't keep up with the public domain or people, celebrities in the public with white spouses or whatever. But
okay. I'm sure that's
uh,
nice. My question is, um, what has your friends done to prove to you that they are pro-black?
sure. So we live in a very homogenous region here in the United States on the West Coast, right? And when I say homogenous, it's homogenous, right? So you'll see a new face probably every 2 weeks, right? So when we get together, it's important, right? And the things and community events that we have are important within the community, right? And every single one of those brothers and sisters that get together with us make shit happen. They're all go getters. You know what I'm saying? They're all entrepreneurs, and they get shit done. It's not just about living hand to mouth with them. It's about supporting other folks that look like us. You know?
That's that's not what pro-blackness is.
How is that
But
not pro black, bud?
that's with the stuff that you're talking about sounds more anti-racist.
No, it's not. No, because I would have said anti-racist if I meant anti-racist, but this
So
is
then tell me
strictly
what
pro-black.
your friends have done that is pro-black. Starting a soup drive doesn't quite
Sure,
fit the
sure.
bill.
So when Juneteenth became a federal holiday, we had, of course, the first Juneteenth here in our city. Obviously put up by these people who were married to white women, right? And consistently do. I guess is the second or third year that
I
they're
would
doing
say
it.
that's an almost anti-black action.
How is it anti? How is
Definitely
Juneteenth
not
anti-black?
pro. All right, so let's define pro-blackness, right? Prioritizing one's actions and values with what's in the best interest of building within the black community.
Uh huh.
This is a definition given to us by Dr. Amos Wilson in his book Blueprint for Black Power.
Okay.
Um, but we can also define black consciousness according to Steve Biko, a South African revolutionary,
Cool.
who basically sums it up as the retention of Africanity and the rejection of white supremacy.
Africanity is a word now. That's
Yes.
crazy. All right. So did I mishear you? Saying that Juneteenth is not pro-black.
The public holiday that they've nationalized,
Hmm.
that making that sharing black culture with the people that oppress us in a way that celebrates liberation while we're still not liberated is not something that moves us forward as a community, to be
Hmm.
honest.
Okay. Okay. Well, you have a good night, bud.
Okay. Of course, a brother with a white wife did that. I
Yep.
mean, now we trying to celebrate Juneteenth, and we got Becky coming with the macaroni salad, talking about, "Hey guys, my husband invited me." Juneteenth was supposed to be a celebration of liberation of people that are still oppressed. What are we talking about? Y'all want to celebrate that with Yankees? It's wild. It makes perfect sense why black men with white wives would want that to be a national holiday. Yeah, made perfect sense. Pro blackness, y'all, is prioritizing the best interests of your community over even the best interests of other communities because somebody got to put us first. Pro blackness is doing something with your intellect, with your skill, with your trade, to build institutions or give resources to brothers and sisters. That's what pro blackness is. Against all other public interest groups, all that other stuff going on. Where are the brothers and sisters that think about our community first?
Greetings, brother.
Peace, Papa J. Um,
Yes.
I'm gonna get to you in a moment. We got some people before you.
Okay, okay.
So just hold on. The truth, y'all. Could you give us your age, race, and pronouns?
Hello, how you doing? And I am 24. I am indigenous Mexican and she, her.
All right, talk to us.
Okay, I feel like, because you said the definition of pro-black is putting your community first, right?
Putting our community first.
Your community first, okay. And I think you can be pro-black with a non-black spouse because if you have children with a white woman or a white man, your kids are still going to be.
I don't think it's her space to tell us. Um, I don't think it's that person's space to tell us what's pro-black and what's not if they're not part of the black community. I'm gonna go to the next guest. Gene, what's going on?
Hello, 24, black. I go by he, him, they, their pronouns. After like looking at these topics and actually have to like think about it, I'll say like a hard no because like you cannot be pro-black because like it's like you have to explain your experiences to someone else and they don't understand like what you go through. So I'll say like no. Not saying like all of them are like that, but after seeing like interracial couples on this app acting, yeah, I'll say like a hard no.
I mean, yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I wish our people had more loyalty to their community, but um, people that are put in survival mode think of themselves and the moment first. They don't think within a collective. They kind of just think of for self survival, and that's one of the side effects of being in a hostile environment. But it's like we actually do have a marriage crisis going on in our community. I don't know how many of y'all know that we have a declining rate in black women being married. There's many ways that affects the community as far as family building, and family is the building block of community. You know, but we want to take all that away. Okay, cool. But how are you pro-black? How are you prioritizing the black community when you know that problem exists? You're choosing not to do it, Okay, you don't care about the community, okay? But then you're going to tell us that you prioritize the community, and at the same time, you know that your priorities towards your family involve another community. So what happens when what's in the best interest of our community is something that's against the best interest of your spouse? Do you come with us or do you stay with her? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there are, for example, the people in South Africa, the Boers, the people that are European settlers in South Africa. The black people of South Africa want them gone. So can you imagine being married to one of them colonizers? Which one are you going to do? Are you going to kick your own wife out? Probably not. And that's the reason why interracial relationships exist in the first place. To make us no longer have that allegiance to our people, to like compromise us. But, you know, you look at South Africa and it's like, if you choose to leave, you still black and happy, but you're not pro-black because you did not decide to prioritize your community. You decide to prioritize self, and that's okay.
Hey, brother, real quick. The moderator option shows that I'm listed as a moderator, but I need the manage section
Oh,
activated.
my bad.
All good, family.
Got you.
Yeah, and
So,
like most people who are in interracial relationships only married or date for like a fetish. That's also why I'm giving it like a hard no, because
I mean,
thinking
we
like
go ahead. I thought you were done. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I was done. I'm sorry.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we get deep into the subconscious and just how society operates, you would say that it's an unethical relationship to even be in an interracial relationship because of the power dynamic involved. Any relationship where a woman can dial 3 numbers on the phone and get you, even if you're innocent, get you, taken away for years of your life, um, that's a troublesome situation. Melanin Shay, give us your age, race, and pronouns, please. Melanin Shay. Melanin Shay, you here?
Melanin, we can't hear you. You might have to mute up and then unmute again.
I think they making noise. I don't know. They know they up here. I'm gonna
Okay.
listen to the next guest. Like you hear people walking around. I don't know. It's really Jay. Give us your age, race, and pronoun.
I'm 23. I am black, and I am I identify as he or him, right?
All right, talk to us.
So basically, I don't want to say that I'm against what you're saying, but I don't agree 100% with what they're saying. Like, I feel like we can be pro-black and still date outside of race. I'm not saying that I do, but I'm saying that I do understand where people are coming from. Where I feel like it's just a preference. A preference doesn't dictate where your morals and where your heart really lies. You get what I'm saying? I don't feel like just because a man dates a white woman, he's not in tune with, or with trying to be pro-black, or he's not pro-black. You know what I'm saying?
Do you think pre-colonization Africans married for their heart and love?
I believe. If I'm correct me if I'm wrong, I thought it was like more of a social thing, like for families to come together and stuff like that, right?
Communities, yeah. So, who taught you to marry people based off love and emotion?
Me personally, I don't. The idea of marriage isn't something that I 100% believe in, but I do believe in being with a single partner, for long term.
No, I understand that. That's the how the relationship is formed. I'm not talking about the rules of the relationship,
Well,
but you said that someone's heart might not align with the best interests of their community. And so what I'm saying is, why would we prioritize following our heart when it comes to marriage over our community if marriage was something we did for the community in the past before the colonizer taught us that love and feelings is the reason you should get married?
Me because firstly, I feel like to answer that, I'd have to originally say it's because of where I grew up. I grew up in America, so I'm very, Americanized in my beliefs. You get what I'm saying? So I can't
I
say that's
wouldn't call it
incorrect.
Americanized,
What is it called? I'm sorry. What's the word for it?
Europeanized.
Yeah, all right, I'll use that word. So I feel like I am very Europeanized in my beliefs and my ideas because I do, I feel like that, that's where I grew up. So of course it will influence me, but I don't think that,
It influenced you
marrying.
enough to come up here and defend marrying white people.
I don't think it's wrong, man. I'm not saying that. I'm not
I know
saying.
you don't. That's what I'm just pointing out why. Because you've been indoctrinated. You've already believed that love is a major priority in life. And the funny thing is, you were taught to think illogically, right? Because whenever your emotions don't align with logic, that is something where you're having a disconnect. That's cognitive dissonance, where emotions don't align with logic. Instead, in America, because of the slave culture here, because of the controlling nature of our overseers, they've taught us to align our logic with our emotions. So it's the other way around. So we actually believe in this thing called love. Meanwhile, the Europeans and their children that's walking around here, they don't get married just for love. They don't there's love in it and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, Europeans have always used marriage as a business arrangement, even themselves. But and then in about 200 years ago, they introduced romanticism. And a lot of us think that is the universal form of love that has always existed. And shoot, some of us even believe, because the Bible, that it existed way back in Jesus' day. No, these are new concepts that you've been brainwashed to believe because of Disney movies and television. And what they didn't teach you to believe in was the fact that your people are currently going through a silent genocide and that we're prisoners of war on enemy territory. And we're sitting here trying to have the same love that they teach their children they can have in an environment that's not hostile towards them being together. The United States, your Americanization is a culture that has always been hostile towards black men and black women staying together. Like on the plantations, they would sell your wife to another owner, and then you sell you to a different owner, sell your children. Having a black family structure was always dangerous to the ideals of American overseers. So that being the case, it's very telling and very, typical for, I would commend you on saying it's very consciously aware of you to admit that your belief on this matter is crafted by your oppressor.
I get what you're saying as far as that aspect. You get what I'm saying, but I feel like the topic isn't really just being white. I get that a white woman is probably I don't know what her race is, but I'm not saying pretty sure, but it looks like she's white. But I feel like the topic is just non-black. So if I'm non-black, would you feel like me marrying a Mexican woman, or me marrying a Latino woman, or me marrying a
If you
Indian?
say Mexican and Latino, neither of those are racist, but a Mexican and Latino woman like Lupita Nyong'o, then yeah.
So you don't feel like you feel like any race that I would marry would be considered me living to the norms that my oppressor have set.
It's a cognitive dissonance with you and understanding the reality of our situation as a people in historical context, and understanding that uh, you know we're we're no longer in chains physically but mentally, You know, it's not the same, and that's what those that would seek to see your community destroyed and to see your black men not being with black women and vice versa. They like this idea because it turns us from looking at our oppression and looking at resistance as an answer to, maybe you're not so oppressed after all. You got a TV, you got cool sneakers. You like your sneakers, don't you? I mean, they were made in sweatshops with black men that look like you in prison, but yeah, you're not. It's not so bad anymore. You can marry white women now. Look at you.
But I feel like we keep going back to the point of, marrying white women, and I feel like, you're saying non-black, and that means any race.
Right,
So,
right. Well, I intentionally crafted that message. But white women is like something
the
that
next topic.
black men do have a tendency to be with. But anyone non-black, when it comes to being pro-black, is a spouse that disqualifies you from being able to say you have prioritized the black community. If you don't prioritize the black community in your most intimate life, then you've shown us already that when things go down and it's time for you to stand with your people, you are going to bring Becky or Beckita or whoever to the cookout. Either you're going to try to bring them to the cookout into the promised land we building, or you're not going to work with us to build the promised land because you're worried about her. So either you're going to come and get in our way, or you're not going to be in our way. You're going to be over there with them. So you see what I'm saying? Like we don't. What? How can you justify prioritizing your community everywhere but where your priorities lie?
I have a follow up question to ask you based on what you're saying. I feel like it would be kind of similar to say that you're. Let me make sure I say this correctly. You're basically saying that if I marry a black woman, I will be considered pro black. If I don't marry a black woman, I would not be. I
Hold
would
on,
not.
hold on, hold on. I didn't say that.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's why I didn't
Marrying a
want to say
black
this.
woman don't make you pro-black. The
Yeah,
same
that was a
way
mistake. That was a
scratching
mistake.
your ass don't make you pro-black.
Yeah, that was a
You
mistake. I
know.
understand that. I understand that. That was a
Okay.
mistake. That was a mistake. I meant if you marry a black woman, you have the ability to be pro black. You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But if you don't marry a black woman, you don't have the ability to be pro black. But I feel like there is a lot of I'm not saying there's a lot of, but there are cases in which black men are the aggressors in their relationships with black women. And would you still say that those even
You just
sometimes
said
when
that.
they
Why would you even ask that after what you just said?
I'm saying
Just having a
sometimes these
black
black
woman does
men
not make you
are
pro-black. And doing something physically to a black woman or being a jerk to a black woman does not make you pro-black. What? If I just said being in a relationship with a sister don't make you pro-black, why would I say, yeah, abusing the sister makes you pro-black? Like, come on now. What's the point of even asking that?
so what does it mean to so if I'm with a black woman and what does it mean for me not to be pro black? If I'm saying I'm pro black, how would you identify me as not being pro black if I was with a black woman?
All right, I'm gonna say this real slow so everyone can get it because we already defined this multiple times for this conversation. I wish y'all would pick up a book. It's very simple. Pro-blackness is prioritizing. My bad, I'm saying it wrong. Prioritizing. Okay, y'all making my East Coast accent come out. Prioritizing. You know what a priority is? That's your number one focus, goal, objective of the day. Prioritizing. Number one focus. All right, everyone hear me now? Prioritizing your actions, what you do, your values, what you believe in what's in the best interest above self interest, above the interest of the Asian community, the Latina community, whatever community, prioritizing your actions and values in what's in the best interest of building with black people. You understand? Your own people.
I understand. So
And
you're
you
saying that
telling
other
me communities that are anti-black and have time to be racist are pro-black, where a black man can go there and be pro-black.
So you don't feel like any other race could be pro-black?
When black people aren't even all pro-black, that's the reason the word exists. If black people were, if we're all pro-black, we'd just be black. We'd be black and happy. That's all that would mean.
So
So what
does
I'm trying
this?
to say is, for you to say that pro-blackness can exist outside of the black community and in non-black people, I would challenge you to find me somebody. Find me someone that has made a priority, not freeing people, not defeating white supremacy and fighting the man. Yeah, we got to do that. To defend ourselves, we got to do that. As a means of defense, like the Black Panthers, the Black Panther Party for Self-Defense. It had a longer name than that, but that was the name because Panthers don't strike on their own. They only strike back. So anti-racism as a means for self-defense, we can get with. Anti-racism as a goal and priority to be included in a country or a world built on our ancestors' backs is not pro-black. And that's the distinction I'm trying to make here. Is anti-racism and pro-black are not the same thing. If you marry your uh, uh, milk dud and you want to go, not milk duds, those got chocolate on them. But y'all know what I'm saying. You want a tall vanilla milkshake? Then cool. You can go be an anti-racist. And honestly, we'd recommend that. Go in their community, maybe try to brainwash her and turn her into a little agent to go and tell us what they saying when no black people are around. And then report back to us and let us know what's going on. Yeah, you wanna be a little spy and you wanna do all that, then hey, by all means, go ahead. Go around them, because that's who you married into. We, however, are going to go build. We're going to go create our own economies. We're going to move on to reconnect to our African roots. That is pro-blackness. It has nothing to do with whiteness or racism. Anti-racism is a whole different topic.
So you're basically saying that no one who is not black can be pro-black. That's basically what you're saying, right?
Okay,
Yes.
real J. Yes, listen, real J.
I
The
get
problem
what
is
you're saying. I'm just
you keep on
clarifying.
trying to think. You keep on trying to. There is no such thing as an entirely different demographic of people, an entirely different race. All of a sudden, putting down their own race and then jumping over to then completely 100% center black people. That's just not that doesn't happen. You don't see that happening. It never happens. Like that's not a thing. So again, only black people who unapologetically are doing and operating to the benefit of other black people, of the black community, global black African family as a whole, can be considered pro-black. So if you are spending the most intimate moments of your life, the time periods where you are going home, you're taking off your shoes, you're kicking back, relaxing, you're grabbing stuff from the fridge, you're processing, you're downloading the day's drama, the nonsense and everything, and then you go to your partner and then you tell them all the difficulties it is being a black man and how it was today being a black man in America. And that partner is not a person that is of African ancestry. They are never going to be able to fully understand you. And simultaneously, you are literally spending the most intimate moments of your life with a person who has nothing to do with the culture that you grew up with, nor do they have anything to do with the people groups that you identify as. Like that, like it doesn't go hand in hand. That's literally the opposite of pro-blackness. You cannot be pro-black while sleeping around with everybody else. If you loved yourself 100% as a black person, then guess what? That means that the time periods where you are the most vulnerable will be spent with a black woman. And for our brothers and sisters in African family that identifies LGBTQIA, if your time periods of the most vulnerable is spent with a demographic that's outside of blackness, then again, that's not pro-black. However, for our African family that identifies as LGBTQIA, your priority needs to be with a black partner.
I heard that.
Okay,
All
so
right.
would this
Hold
not
on.
be
It's
My
really
question,
good.
pretty
We got
quickly.
more people. We got more people.
would this not be
Look. You
pushing
asked enough.
forward the
You asked
idea?
enough. Listen, hold on. You got there's other people up here now. Go ahead, Gene, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you, brother.
Yeah, Timothy, I was right. Tiffany, I was telling
You were right the whole time, Jay.
you how the Shay in the comment section. She's talking about she wanted to smoke with. She don't want no smoke with us. Well, she thinks like we don't have smoke for her. But she gave me start the flames. But to me, um, other people in the comment section, Barbie Woos, I don't know what's going on with you, ma'am, because mm, you just another woman who's said he was indigenous and Mexican. Like, why are you still speaking on black people still? Like that's weird. Like,
Yeah,
I'm trying to be my best, be real nice, but it's just weird. Like, you guys, and it's real. I forgot your whole name. I'm sorry, sir, but I'm gonna be blunt and honest with you. I just like forgot the word everything you just said because um
I forgot too. To be honest, my
what you were
wife.
trying to say because I just blank out.
Yeah, I forgot. You was talking about black people, or something. I don't remember. But all right. Let's go to Shantae Rose. Peace.
How you doing, brother?
I'm good, sister. How you?
I'm all right. Just to answer the question, can you be pro-black with a non-black spouse? My answer is no. You cannot be pro-black with a non-black spouse. To me, I see it as escapism. And I get it, it's hard being black and you see all of these white teen men with all of these privileges and they get to do whatever they want to do and they make it look good, but that's not you. Like if you want to have those benefits, then take that energy and put it into your community and be that way with your sisters instead of
Mm-hmm.
trying to escape what we're going through and think you're going to have it better over here with potato salad with raisins in it
Mm-hmm.
um, or over here with uh, Asians or Latinos or whatever. Like we've been going through it for over 400 years. So I get why people want to escape, but you can't escape being what you are. You're black.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I wish more of us would do some more reading. If we did, we would stop looking at love as Romeo and Juliet and start thinking of love as two soldiers on a battlefield. You know, black women are my comrade. Whether I'm married to her or not, that's my comrade. I have an allegiance to black women. And of course, because of my motives and goals and things that I want to do with my life for my community, I'm going to, of course, attract a black woman that has similar goals and can achieve them at the same level of effectiveness that I can as a black man, or even greater. You know,
And I
shout out to
kind of
black
feel like
women.
you're making like you're make when you have a union outside of a non-black union, look what you're doing to your children because now they have to pick one or the other. And that's been a lot of mixed people's struggles having to pick between one or the other based on how they're perceived phenotypically, by other
Mm,
people. Like to me, that's cruelty, So I'm not saying that. Well, yeah, I am saying. I think that as Black people, we can't afford to date outside of our race. We've been targeted for too long, and we still have little micro wars against us. So,
mm. I wouldn't even say they're
it's
little, but
crazy.
it's more hidden than it used to be when it was institutional. but you know, systemic racism is still here. You know what I'm saying? And to be honest, you know, what is going on with some of our brothers and sisters in the diaspora is still institutional. Racism is still institutionalized in the Middle East, in Saudi Arabia, Iran, you know, certain places in the Middle East. There is institutional African slavery. And you could order somebody to come and be a slave like you could order pizza on DoorDash.
And look
I
how
think,
they
yeah.
historically what they have done with the mixed people when it comes to black people. They play agents against us. You
Yeah.
know, like they have us believing that Obama is black and he's mixed. Let
Hmm.
that man be mixed. The only first black thing we've ever had is Michelle Obama, the first
Hmm.
black lady. That's as close as we have come. So we need to stick with our own. We need to stick
Yeah.
with our own because we're constantly being divided. Constantly.
Hmm. Yeah.
Well, definitely. Like if you have a parent of African ancestry, then like Obama, he's black. Whether or not he's consciously black, yeah, that's a different story. Like, you're if you have a parent of African ancestry, you are black. But still, that consciousness has to be there also. And yeah, if that consciousness isn't there, then yeah, that very
Just
much so
because he has an African parent does not make him black. That makes him mixed because his mama is full blown white, full blown white. Like you can't get around that. Just because his father is African doesn't cancel out his mother. He
Uh,
those two coming
He's
together
still
to create
black
a child
regardless.
But wouldn't
created
but wouldn't
created a mixed child. That's
but
what they created. They didn't make a black child. They created a mixed child.
But
Dante.
he
but
is still black.
even
He got
in slavery
married to
times
a
wouldn't
black
he be still
woman. He
considered black?
has black children. So, I mean, we're not going to sit here and try to ignore that. Let's not take that away from another black person because he didn't choose his mother. His father chose his mother, or mother
And
chose father, or it could have been a
we did
jump
not
night at an R.
choose
Kelly
his
concert. It
ethnic,
could be any of the case
we didn't
that he still
choose
didn't choose
that his
that.
parents, one of his parents would be white and one of his parents would be black. We didn't choose that either, but that's the facts of the matter. His
So,
parents, they are
so
an
we shouldn't
interracial
be putting it
couple.
off on him like that. Like you're acting like it. Oh yeah, like he chose it. Like he says, I want one white mom, one black dad, or African dad. But I want to see how this works out. Like we can't do that to people. Like because it's bad enough that we have this issue in our community right now, where we have people that are by even multiracial, but they're still black and they're raised up in the black area and with black community, black family, et cetera, and they always get the short end of the stick from our own people, and that causes problems down the line.
Well,
And
he's
that's
still
something that we
mixed.
got to
No
stop
matter
Wait,
doing
how
to
wait,
each
wait,
you,
wait.
other.
All right.
no matter
Hold
how
on.
you
Hold
explain
on.
it or try to
hold
look
on.
at it, he's still a
One mic.
mixed man.
Everybody, the
Hold
host is
on.
trying to speak. The host is
Hold
trying to
on.
speak.
Hold on.
Everybody.
All right. So the live is actually fun, right? Like I'm not just up here to have these lives because it's fun. I'm also here to be productive and constructive. When it comes to Obama's race, we have to say he's black. I know you don't like hearing that, sister, but he is black. Was he black the same way Candace Owens was black? Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Or Uncle Ruckus, or Uncle was Sambo. You know what I'm saying? Um, but the man is black. He has a black father, and he presents phenotypically as black. Having a white tea mother should have been a red flag to us in our community, because when they have a white mother, they're usually not black in here. You know what I'm saying? Because their mother, they feel like they've been separated from, they seek to be close, to have that proximity to whiteness, to be close to their mother. So they look at that as their mother's culture. So, of course, that does compromise him. But we can't start judging blackness based on how we want it to be. Blackness is something that, unfortunately, in the context of racism and white supremacy, even we don't get to control. You know,
Can I ask you a question, brother? I now correct me if I'm wrong because you know I've been following you for centuries and you have educated me on a lot of stuff. I read a lot of books because of you. But let me ask this question. Um, so having two black parents and four black parents no longer you're no longer considered to be um I guess okay, let me rephrase that question. Um I thought I was under the impression that having two black parents, four black grandparents is what made you black, not having one parent as black and one as a non-black person. I thought that was mixed, unless they changed it, and I haven't
no, they didn't
heard it.
change it. It's been the same since it was. Mixed was never a race. You ain't never going to see on a birth certificate mixed. One person, one race. That's how it works. And ever since 17, somebody might know better than me, but it was like I want to say 1619, but it was later on that Virginia came up with the one drop rule and kind of like codified it into law, where having one black parent. Uh, Harvard just did a study on this called hypodescent. If you want to look it up, it's called hypodescent. It is still very prevalent in American society, but also it's expressed in different ways around the world. And we can get into this. This is a very deep conversation. Long story short, what makes someone black is their genotype or phenotype. I'm using my conjunctions intentionally. Genotype, meaning your ancestry, or phenotype, how you look, and so, or one of these two, and identifying as black full time, no matter where you're at. So, if someone's switching sides like Drake, I'm black, I'm not, I'm black, I'm not, I'm black, I'm not. That's not somebody we consider black. Obama, I've never seen him say he's anything but black. So, he has internalized that identity. He has claimed his blackness. He looks black and he has black ancestry. So 3 out of 3, he's a black man.
I, I have a
Come
question.
to that though.
Also, Chris.
That now it is it's not really well, it is kind of a slippery slope, but at the same time it is something that's a little bit past our capacity because I don't know if y'all ever heard about even white parents. Like they two white parents don't look black, no nothing typically what like just as white as that white woman right behind you. They never cheated on each other. The DNA will come back as man A and woman B has a C type child, and it like they're all together, the same DNA across the board, and the baby comes out black, phenotypically, even though
That's
they're
a
light
one,
skinned.
but that's a 1 in 7 billion chance, man.
It's
Like
not really a 1 to 7 million. It's actually a little bit more common than what it seems to be. But at the same
it's
time, the
internet
fact that it
bullshit,
still does
man. It's
happen,
not. It
that it
doesn't.
shows that
I
our
don't
genes.
believe
Well, I
that
was
at
getting ready to
all.
say that our genes are pretty prominent.
Nah,
Like
that's
our
a
DNA is pretty prominent. It will still come up. But when it really comes down to it, like people that looked at it, like how she was looking at it earlier, it like you can't just like look at one parent and say, "Well, he's not going to be black because his mama or his daddy is such and such, such and such." We gotta stop pushing that in our community, on our community, because number one, that drives people out, and two, it psychologically damages each other. It does damage our own people. It is really kind of a hard thing to explain, but I've witnessed it from time and time again. That's something we need to stop doing to each other because one of them has, or one person has one white mother or one white father or something like that. They're still black at the end of the day, and we need
Why do you
to
think they
recognize
do it?
that.
Can I ask a question?
Hold on, man. Why do you think they do it?
I believe it falls under the whole colorism situation.
So you believe darker skinned monoracial black people are colorist towards biracial people?
It's a back and forth thing that happened
Colorism is
way
not a
before
two-way
our
street.
time.
Colorism is not a two-way street, number one. Colorism means discriminating against darker skinned individuals, not discriminating against lighter skinned individuals. And that is clearly said in even the white man's dictionary. Colorism is when a lighter skinned, fairer skinned person who is more preferenced in society takes part in discriminating, disparaging, or just being a jerk to someone of a darker skin tone who's less privileged in society. So
Exactly.
that's colorism. Number two, the reason they do it is because for hundreds of years, mixed black children and adults would be the ones to rat you out to the oppressor, to the man in charge. So yes, there's a little bit of epigenetics. There's a little bit of post-traumatic slave syndrome. There's a little bit of trauma that got passed down. And so that being the case, I may disagree with brothers and sisters that say stuff like Obama isn't black because he has a white mom. I disagree with that. But I'll never blame them for how they react because I understand the conditions of the hostile environment towards them and how lighter skinned people have been a burden to black liberation.
Yeah, brother. I'm gonna let you know, family, that very much so. Like people such as myself and my skin complexion have absolutely been a problem towards our more melanated brothers and sisters of African family. Like that has to be acknowledged. That has to be acknowledged because we have been used for the purpose of destroying African civilizations for thousands of years. Like that whole intermittent. Can you mute up, family? There's a little bit of background noise. So we literally have been used for the destruction of African civilizations for thousands of years. They used that part
Thousands.
of yes, that exactly yes, thousands. They used that as a way to destroy Kemet, ancient Egypt. Ancient Egypt was a black African civilization. For those who don't know, and I really don't have time to deal with the whole nonsensical argument of it
No,
was a
no, let's
mixed.
go. Let's go, brother. You ain't got to get into detail, but go ahead. Tell them about Algeria and Haiti. You know what I'm saying? There's multiple instances.
Yep. Yep. There's multiple instances. Right? Like it's been for thousands of years. This has literally been the process, and even during even during the European transatlantic slave trade, like that's literally how it was used. They would use people that looked like myself for the purpose of creating that dissension, because they would give more privileges towards people that looked like myself. They would give us access to the big house. They would give us access to more food portions. They would give us access to more just other small little trinkets of privilege. They would never give us liberation, but they would always give us access to just a little bit better of a lifestyle than those that were in the cabins. And now, but also on the opposite end of that, there very much so also has been African family that had looked like myself that have stood on business and have unapologetically been for the
Absolutely.
black community. Frederick Douglass, for example. Well, okay, Frederick Douglass was pro-black all the way up until the end of his life when he married that YT woman. I don't know why the hell he did that. I think it was out of desperation. I think he was a Looney Tune at that point.
I
But
think he was an anti-racist.
yeah,
You know, he's
yep,
abolitionist.
yep, absolutely. So Frederick Douglass, very much so, he used his proximity and access to learning and learning how to read, because he was allowed from time to time to play with YT children. He used that to learn the reading lessons from them, to then go back to the cabins and then teach his African family in the cabins. That's how you're supposed to do it. You use this proximity to help uplift your brothers and sisters in African family. But if you out here being a problem, then so it's important that we acknowledge that part of it.
Which I can understand that 100% of the way.
Yeah, the ancestors used to have a saying,
Oh, sorry.
don't be a waste of yellow. That's what they would say. Don't be a waste of yellow. What they mean is what Timothy just said. Use the complexion of protection to the benefit of your community.
There was just not really a pushback, but there was one thing I did learn. Oh Jesus! Hello.
You good? Go ahead.
Okay, I thought it was because I had a lot of background noise. There is one thing I did want to ask that because I did hear about this, these type of situations, like specifically that not the mistresses, but the wives of the slave owners that would take or beat on or even completely unalive the children, including the light skinned ones, that are wearing the master's face. How do you feel on that specific area? So, like, they would be light skinned, they would be basically mixed because, well, you know, how they like to
Yeah,
do
we
nasty
know.
things to people for no apparent reason. It wasn't even asked for. How do you feel about that particular situation and how it would actually apply with the whole colorism thing?
Um, I think that's the reason a lot of them like interracial relationships now because they're following the tradition of their ancestors and trying to find them a black body to do that type of thing with. That's why a lot of them fetishize our sisters and even our brothers the way that they do, you know, the way that their ancestors did. But I mean, yeah, a lot of mixed race uh, black children would be sold off. There's a there's a white woman that wrote a book back in the day where she outlines the life of a slave. She said, but yeah, she talks about how a white slave owner had a child um, by one of his enslaved people, and basically they just sold the child off. The child never knew who mama, never knew who their father was. I guess they knew who the mom was, but
Yep.
Can I
yeah,
ask
they
a
That
sold
book,
question?
off.
that book was
Hey, let me
titled.
let me ask a question real quick.
No,
Hold
One
on,
like
give
second.
him the
One
white
book.
second.
Hold
Hold
on,
on. Hold
y'all.
on.
We up here for a reason. Y'all gotta let. We not just
white men
talking.
being the original deadbeat dad.
Wait, hold on, hold
Yeah.
on, hold on. Give us the book. Give us the book, Timothy.
Gotcha, family.
I'm just
So
gonna
the
ask a
book is
question.
titled "Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl" by Harriet Jacobs.
Yeah.
And Harriet Jacobs witnessed firsthand that her enslaver, who was also well known as a community doctor, he was a doctor. So it wasn't just some, Joe Blow, Coco Schmo. Like, no, he was. Imagine if a doctor from Children's Hospital of Philadelphia or a doctor from Johns Hopkins University. Imagine if a doctor, prestigious doctor, literally forced himself onto. I think she wrote down in the book, potentially 11 women, like 11 women, 11 black women, 11 black enslaved women. And because of what's it called, his YT wife actually did not like the fact that he was doing this, but she had no problem with hiding the evidence. So she
Mm.
would regularly sell those babies away from their moms and sell the moms too, like at the drop of a hat. And he would look the other way. He didn't give a damn. And then he tried to then take that same pursuit of the previous women that he was with, the previous women that he forced himself on, and tried to pursue Harriet Jacobs like that. And it started when she was 15, y'all.
Mm.
She was a
Jeez.
baby.
Well, all right.
Find an audio book to that.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So another thing. If you look at South Africa, they have the colored race, or they're not they the ones that are kind of woke call themselves an ethnicity, but that's something that's not new either. They do that uh, to split up our numbers based on a proximity to them. They do that mostly when they're the minority. In America, they of course is the majority. So that's why we have black and white and nothing in the middle. They never needed to create something in the middle to protect themselves because they're the majority. But in places like South Africa, where they only make up 7% of the population, they've convinced a large number of would otherwise be considered, if you just looked at them, like Tyler, if you just look at her, black woman. But they've convinced her that she's colored. So she doesn't have an allegiance to the black community. She has an allegiance to the colored community. you have allegiance to the black community, you have allegiance to the mixed community. That is just a way for them to split us up and continue to control power. But let me go.
That's the MENA Act, the Middle Eastern North African thing that the United States got going on. That's literally how they took literally non-white people, brown as hell, shoot, as dark as me and you, or even darker, and consider them as white when they come here to America, which is absolutely insane.
Yeah,
Can I?
yeah.
But I did want to ask about the whole. What do you think about being gay, bisexual, trans, etc., and being pro-black? Because of the no tips, I call them no tips, and the FBAs have a bad tendency to say, well, if you're gay, bi, or trans, you're not pro-black and you're not a foundational Black American because
Well,
you're not
family.
making children
Well, family,
and all
family.
that other crap.
The thing is that just so long as you're prioritizing blackness, then that's what counts the most. And of course, our brothers and sisters, well, African family that identifies LGBTQIA, they also have a responsibility to find a partner that is also black. They have that responsibility to prioritize blackness because you'll even hear from our brothers and sisters in African family that identifies LGBTQIA, you will hear very clearly that they experience a lot of racism from within that community too. And let's be clear,
Oh, it's
there
heavy.
is a big, yeah, there's a huge difference between our African family that identifies LGBTQIA and the LGBTQIA community as a whole. Because the LGBTQIA community as a whole is predominantly YT people. And that's
Hmm.
where all that racism is coming from. So,
I would
and
say
plus it
more.
includes
I would
Like, I'm
say
not trying to put all my business out there, but I did have like about a month or so ago where I had a message. Like, they hit me up. I don't know how the hell they missed my picture, but they hit me up. We're talking. When I sent them a private picture, like, oh, you're an N word. I don't sleep with N words. Y'all nasty. Y'all this, that, and the other. Right before they blocked me. Like, and this, and I didn't realize that this was a white dude until after the fact. Like, because you know how some people like to be on the DL, if some of y'all know what I'm talking about, and don't have a picture up. Like, it's just a blank profile.
yeah.
Can I?
I
Yeah,
would
so yeah,
say
I know very, very well how bad it can be in that particular group, in that category.
Can I ask a question to
can
like
I
bring us
let
back
me
on
answer his
topic?
question too, this since this is my platform. He just asked a question about LGBT brothers and sisters, QIA. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to that, like Timothy just said, they face discrimination in their own community. It is up to them to choose to unite with all those willing to unite in our community, and not get in the defense of other people in that community that worked against their best interests and the best interests of our community. Not to put another identity before the communal identity. Like, not to say one is not equally as intrinsic to, how that person lives their life, but at the same time, there's a much larger war going on against you because of your blackness than because of your sexuality or gender identity. And specifically because there are white tea men controlling the narrative with that whole movement in the first place, that it doesn't even benefit brothers and sisters the way it's supposed to. Because if LGBT as a movement was prioritizing people that have been, marginalized, even medical racism that exists for them, as far as getting medicines, you would assume that the LGBT movement would focus almost entirely on Black trans women and the LGBT brothers and sisters who the alarming rates of self unaliving and issues with getting medicine and other healthcare related stuff. Like, if they actually cared, then they would treat those that are most vulnerable, but they don't. And I think that's important too. If they be one, I'm riding with them. That's it. Mulatto Mall. I don't like your name. I'm gonna call you Lotto Mall. Give us your
Hi.
age, race, and pronouns.
A lot of people don't like my name. I found out today.
Okay.
I am mixed race. I am she, her, and I am timeless.
Okay. All right. Timeless is the correct
Um,
answer. Wait, you said you mixed race?
I'm
yeah,
mixed
she
race.
said that.
That's not a race.
I hear a lot of discussion around that today. Like,
It's a
some
description.
people, that's the description of me. I'm half black and I'm half white, and that's why I say I'm mixed
You're
race.
not halfway. There's no such thing as halfway.
I feel like I'm half white because one of my parents is white. So I
And you want
consider
to be
my
white. That's why you think you half
I
white,
don't
but you're not.
I
They're
don't
never
I
going to
don't
accept you as half white. Do you get half pulled over when the cops pull you over? If you go to the court, is the judge going to give you half a white sentence and half a black sentence? Like,
the
how does
Half
that
the
work for
ID
you?
the
card.
I don't know about
the
y'all, but I never got half beaten up by the cops when I was 15. I didn't get half arrested. It wasn't time. They didn't
They take
halfway
half your
pursue me.
ID card, half your
Yeah,
wallet. They
nah,
tow away half
If
your
they
it's
didn't
car.
half
arrest.
half, then
They
you ain't
didn't put
white.
me halfway in handcuffs. They put my ass in full handcuffs. Like that's not
see so
family. It's
going back to what you was talking about when they used to like sell babies on the plantation, like do you think they saw those babies as white?
no.
No, that you.
They
How you
No matter
selling
how
white
those
babies?
babies looked though. Even if those
Honey,
babies came out looking
honey,
like
honey.
white
They
people.
they looked at
Wait,
us
wait.
as
When we
Alabaster,
said that,
actual.
Alabaster. Hold
I'm
up. Just let
sorry.
her. No, it's fine. Just let her finish. Let her. What were you saying? Maul.
I was saying that, like those babies on the plantation that they sold, do you think they thought that those babies were white, or did they be like, wait, those babies came from the plant, like the fields, you know what I mean? The moms and stuff from a black woman. Like, why is that baby there? Even though that baby is like, could be so light skinned, they
Well,
still like, hold on, we got to get this tainted in a way baby off the plantation.
well, family. Keyword is sold. So they clearly deemed them as property. Otherwise, they would never have been sold. They were sold to other plantations. They still held the classification of enslaved. The woman that I'm telling you about, Harriet Jacobs, that wrote the book Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl, she also had a YT father. Like that's the reality of it. Like they were sold. And also what's even crazier is that she, in order to escape the SA advancements of her enslaver, she actually, when she was about 15, 16, she literally decided to get herself impregnated by another YT man that she had essentially grown up with, to be able to prevent this doctor from trying to pursue her, because he was sending her letters talking about, I'm gonna build a cabin for us, and then I'm gonna take what I want type stuff like that. He was sending that to her. Once he found out that she learned how to read, he was sending her those types of notes. So like, but then again, the reason why I brought that up is because her children still held the status of being enslaved. Now remember, her
That
father, YT, and her, what's it called, the father of her children, YT, but her children still held the status of enslaved.
But the thing is, if a white woman back in the day had a baby with a black man, that baby would not be enslaved at that
Yes, they
same time.
would.
They
They
It's
would
the
would
same
not. They
absolutely
thing.
would.
literally they literally changed the laws
Nah,
so
They
that
didn't.
No,
if you guys
no.
check,
the
they
woman
changed
would
the law.
literally be put in jail for that,
No,
and the
no.
black baby would be literally sold off if they're lucky to be sold off. Because remember, they were using us as alligator bait too.
So
Yeah.
there were a lot of times where, of course, when there was like plantation owners and stuff, a lot of them were like rapists. I feel like most of them,
Well, hold up.
but
Well, you got to use TikTok
oh,
friendly
sorry,
language.
sorry, sorry. Our
Yeah, just
there
say
was that,
great.
right?
G in front of the G. Yeah.
Sorry. Um, but at the same time, there were like a lot of poor farmer girls and stuff who really had relationships with black men. And it wasn't like, with the same great situation that was happening.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it
it,
was.
no matter whether it was a great situation or not,
There's
those
no such
babies
thing
were
as a
those
great situation
not
or
great.
a consensual
Oh,
relationship with someone in bondage. Like, just think
Yeah.
about what you're saying. Like,
but
I know we
that's
talk
not
about
true.
slavery a lot, and it kind of we get numb to it. But you got to remember, there's no such thing as a consensual relationship with someone that's not even seen as human.
Maul, the reason why he's 100% right is because even today, when you look at correctional officers that are like correctional officers that are in charge of managing or essentially like guarding or whatever, incarcerated brothers, they literally have it on the books that legally you would be considered committing rape if you were a correctional officer and you tried to pursue an inmate, because that dynamic is literally considered that you are in a position of authority and that inmate literally has no choice but to do whatever you say.
Hmm.
There has been multiple cases where YT women have literally gotten jammed up because they've tried to pursue inmates and they've made those inmates' life a living hell just because those inmates said, "Yeah, no, I'm not about that. I'm not trying to be a
Hmm.
part of that." And they would manipulate them into doing their bidding just so that way those brothers that were incarcerated wouldn't experience any hardship while they were incarcerated. Like that's a real thing. Like that's
It
a
still
real
goes
law
on
where if you
So
today.
violate that.
what do you guys think about the people who were in bondage and then freed and then willingly stayed with their, those slave owners that they had
All right.
relationships and kids with?
So you think when slavery ended, racism ended?
It definitely did not end, but I'm
Do you
just
think it
saying that.
lost all
The
power
Jim
to?
Crow era was the whole Jim Crow era. Number one, that you're not even allowed to get married to a white woman. I mean, look what happened to all these young black men that even looked, whistled, or even been
Hmm.
within a vicinity of a white woman. They got unalive. They got unalive almost immediately. Like this is not even a joke. So they wanting to be with a white woman. I'm trying to figure out how to even get the chance like that.
And
Like, because
then,
all they have to
but
do is say the black man has R-worded me. That's it.
exactly.
Game over. Whole
There you
city
go.
burned down to the ground.
The host is trying to
Hmm.
speak, fam. The host is trying to
Sorry.
speak.
No,
Go ahead.
no, no. I was agreeing because that's exactly what I was going to say. Just because slavery ended doesn't mean that she no longer had power. There's if there's a power dynamic in a relationship between Drake and a 17-year-old girl, and that's what makes it unethical. There's a power dynamic between Bill Clinton and a 19-year-old intern, because there's a power dynamic. That's her boss. If she rejects him, he could fire her, he could ruin her life. You know, you see Jonathan Majors, he tried to fire his bunny and he ran as fast as he could away from her. You never seen somebody run that fast in an overcoat. And he was running away from her. And look what happened. It's kind of like the situation can go down any way that the other person decides. So that still makes it non-consensual, you know, especially back then when the default setting for black men was to be tree ornaments.
So I understand that, the majority of these cases were like non-consensual, but after, the slaves were quote unquote freed, um there were a lot of women who were in relationships with men that left because they were like, even situations where, like, I had read this some I read somewhere where this they were talking about slave narratives, and this lady was talking about how um her dad, who was a white man, was really nice to them, and even though he was nice
Maul,
to them, the mom, she was like, after once she was free, she was like, I want to leave though, because there was somebody who she actually was in love with. So she left him. But then there were other stories where women were like, hey, this is my family, I want to stay. There were even some stories where they were like, um some white men wanted to free their families and they put
so
things
Maul,
in law.
Maul, real quick. Listen, do you believe? that systemic racism it incorporates like a power dynamic. Do you
For
believe systemic
sure.
racism exists today?
For sure.
Okay. So if systemic racism exists today, who are the ones that benefit the most from systemic racism?
White people.
Okay. If white people benefit the most from systemic racism and systemic racism exists today, do you believe that there's systems that are currently in place to prevent black people from gaining access to equal opportunities do you believe that?
For sure.
Okay. So if we know that those opportunities are prohibited, like black people are prohibited from gaining access to those opportunities in often cases, we know that these systems of systemic oppression exist. We know that racism exists, and we know that YT people benefit the most from that. Then we obviously can then come to the conclusion that that power dynamic of enslaver versus the enslaved effectively still exists. So if you are living in a society where it's based on only benefiting YT people and all those systems still exist, then how is it that it is still not a power dynamic between those two people, making it effectively your so-called decision to be with them null and void because you can't consent to being in a power dynamic relationship like that when like you literally can't consent to that. Like, do you see where I'm getting at here? Like, if
The
they
last.
hold all the power, and if they
Mhm.
could call the cops on you at any point in time, and just have you locked up like that,
Mhm.
then how is it a consensual relationship?
In today's world,
If they can call the cops on you just like that and get you locked up for years, no explanation, nothing, and that is what's happening today, or they can get you unalived, no explanation, nothing. If that's happening right now, then how is that consensual?
that is not consensual.
Okay.
But people deciding to stay in relationships with white people is consensual.
It's not because we just explained that the power dynamic
So are
exists.
you saying like white people can't be with black people now?
What I'm saying is that because of that power dynamic, it is not possible for black people to be able to even consent to relationships with them because that power dynamic is still in place. If you are automatically living inside of a YT supremacist society and you already told me that, you agree that these systems exist and that YT people benefit the most from it, if you are okay, for example, if you look at Disney princesses, right?
Hmm.
When was the first time you ever saw a black Disney princess?
I was grown.
Okay. All right. So that means that the entirety of your life, you have been taught that the knight in shining armor is usually a YT man and that the Disney princess is usually a YT woman, right?
On TV, yes, that's what I was taught.
Okay. On TV, right? And we can already say that most of the TV shows, YT men, most of the TV shows, YT women, right? Even in cartoons.
Hmm.
Right. So if we know that that is there, and we know that that is what we have seen the entirety of our lives, then how can we not say that we haven't been conditioned to prioritize whiteness and actively engage in anti-blackness?
I can't say that for like my personal experience because that wasn't what happened in my household.
So listen,
Like the
that's
princess
not
in
what
my household
happened.
was black. You know, the prince was white, but the princess
But
was black.
family,
Only.
that's not what happened in my household either. My father has always been in my life. I appreciate that man. I love that man. That's my father. And I appreciate my mom. She's been in my life my whole. We're still like everything is still peachy keen. But I also prioritize researching the data. I also prioritize looking up the information, and I can see very clearly that in the vast majority of cases, that is not the dynamic. In the vast majority of cases, it is fetishization, and it may actually have been fetishization in our cases too. Maybe we're just not ready to admit that, if we're being quite honest. But in the vast majority of cases, it's not benefiting the black community. So what we have to do is step ourselves out of our personal experience and approach it from looking at the benefit of all black people, because that's how we are black. So we have to look at how it impacts everybody, not just us in our personal situation. We can't be me, and while addressing a systemic issue.
I just don't, understand about the like the white princess part, because it's like no matter what I see on TV, I know that I'm not, a full white person.
Well, family, the reason why I brought that up is because, again, you mentioned that you didn't see a black princess until you were grown.
Hmm.
So you didn't see a black princess until you were grown, which means that the entirety of your life, you only saw that the princess could only be YT and the prince could only be YT. So you have literally, just through that alone, have been conditioned to only see that royal family could be that. That's why you see so many people rejecting the idea of seeing black people in any other light today, even though we've been that for 600,000 years in Africa. Like, that's the reason why you see so many people rejecting it, because they've been so conditioned by YT supremacist societies to hate everything about Africa, to hate everything about blackness, and to not even see black people in a positive light.
It's so crazy because when I was little, like one of my earliest memories was seeing a Michael Jackson video. The Do you remember the Time video?
Mm.
And I was just so in love with that video, and it was definitely a princess in there. It was a queen and a king. I think that those images was very important for everybody to see at that time.
Michael Jackson turned himself white by then, right?
I know, but yeah, that's messed up. But that's a whole nother topic, probably.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the same topic, but yeah.
I don't know if he wanted to turn himself white. That's why I say it's probably a whole different topic. I don't know if he was forced to because of crazy media and stuff like that. How they be having people carve their bodies up now. That probably was his version of you got to carve yourself up, but he couldn't get a crazy little
Well,
Kim cut up.
it's actually what I've heard. I still have to do some more digging into it, but what I've heard is that yeah, he actually did have a skin condition where it lightens, or basically,
Yeah, but
lightens.
don't that come in like splotches? Isn't like there's
Yeah,
models
Yeah.
that have
yeah, it
that too?
does. Yeah,
So
he definitely
he could
did
have
like
been the first
modify.
like superstar with that
Mhm.
look. Like if he, what I'm saying? Like, you know what I would do if my skin started turning light? I would go and get it darkened. You know what I'm saying? Some of us see the brown and want to take it off. And I think that's interesting.
Hmm. Yeah, we
I
just
um I just think that even though we have systemic racism today, I still think that it's possible for a non-black person to choose a white I mean for a black person to choose a white partner, and it doesn't have anything to do with you know what you saw on TV or even what you saw growing up in your household. Like I do think some people can just like people, but I do think a lot of people it's a fetish also
All
at the
right,
same
hold on.
time.
Why did the Disney princess get with the prince?
You said why did they get together?
Yeah, why they get together?
I think it's just a storyline.
It just it's not like it's just they just get together, right? Like the prince hear about her, go slay the dragon, and the girl come with it. You know what I'm saying? That's very Eurocentric. That idea of love, it didn't exist before the late 18th century. You know, marriage was something that was a way to create bonds in communities and societies, create trade routes. There was a lot that came with marriage in Africa. Certain parts of Africa to this day, if you want to marry somebody, you have to like be able to take care of their parents. Otherwise, uh, they can sue you if you marry their daughter without their consent. You know, so marriage had more of a communal aspect to it before colonization from people that were brought here on slave ships. So you kind of able to look at how we behaved then and how it was constructive to building a society versus how
Oh, brother, you there?
I think it might have froze.
Yeah, I think it might have froze. We have to give it a second because yeah, I'm not sure if everybody can hear me, but I have to give it a second. It's Brother Legends something may have unalived. Hold on. Let me type it here. Of course, like 58 more commenters. Let's see here.
I really do think people can date white people and be pro-black though at the same time. Somebody just wrote that in the comment.
Yeah. Well, see, family, is that we hope for that to be the case, but in reality, that's just not the case. This definitely requires a lot more unpacking and learning. I had to unpack a lot and unlearned, and unlearned and decolonized. Well, not unlearned, but decolonized my mind. And what needs to be the priority is, you have to unpack that stuff because a lot of times we are so heavily indoctrinated that we're not thinking in any other lens other than the lens that we've been told. And then we keep on rejecting things and rejecting and rejecting. But at the same time, the books are out there. The information is out there. The knowledge is available. Oh, Brother Lynn is back. So yeah. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
That's sorry.
Hold on, Maul. Let's.
Yeah, appreciate you, bro. My phone died. Go
Yeah, I
ahead.
figured.
Go ahead, Mulatto.
Oh,
I hate you making me say that name because it's right there. That's problematic in itself. Why would you choose that name?
I swear, if I would have known today was gonna go, this is the first time I've ever been live in my life today. And if I would have known that name would have gotten that much of a topic, I would have never put it. But at this point, I'm just like, I'm actually gonna keep it because it's like so
no,
many.
you shouldn't. No. I'm like that's actually a racial slur that was used to
No.
dehumanize.
Let her keep it. Not.
Uh-huh.
She knows.
Okay.
You know that, right?
It was a word that they used to describe a mixed race person. Like they were describing, I believe, a mix between a donkey and I forgot what the other thing is. Um, but it was literally them describing two different kind of animals in a way put into one.
So do you
So
see yourself
when,
as an animal?
huh?
Do you see yourself as an animal?
I see myself as two different races put into one.
So if they use that to classify you as an animal and you're okay with using the term, then doesn't that mean that you see yourself as a animal?
It wasn't used really to classify the people as animals. It was to
It was though.
classify their races as mixed.
It was to classify them as animals. You just said that it was a
No,
mix.
I said that they got the word from the mixed animals,
It
but
was
they were
used to
It
using it to
wasn't to
dehumanize.
describe
classify the.
mixed race.
Oh boy. Okay, so you seem very dedicated to
But the
identifying with
first,
very. Sorry, go ahead, brother.
I was just gonna say the mule part is right there in the name. So, um, I mean, like, if you're okay with being
It
that, then
it it's just so crazy because like
let me know.
the people who I was in the live with earlier were literally telling me that I can't use this word or reclaim it or be like, it'd be my word or whatever. But they're talking
Yeah, they
about
right.
it's okay to use the N word though. So I'm like, okay, so it's okay for you in history to have reclaimed that word, but in these modern times, I can't reclaim this word. It's like, who gets to make these rules? Why can't we make these rules for ourselves? If black people
Um,
can make that rule for themselves, then why can't I refer to myself as what I want to call myself? And on an everyday basis, I don't do that. I call myself mixed. I don't use the word mulatto in every, day conversations and stuff, but at the same time, I identify myself as mulatto. when I
Oh
see
my
somebody who
God.
has like a quarter black.
So
I do,
you
you
see
know, and
yourself
that
as a
I'm
mule then.
sorry.
I mean, you literally have a
This
whole
is getting
picture
kind
of a
of fetishy.
zebra.
I'm not sure what's going on right now. It's kind of
no,
weird.
don't
This is more
fetishy
than
Well,
problematic.
it is.
Honestly, my epigenetics are getting triggered at this point. She gonna run and tell Master, y'all. I just get that. My ancestral like DNA just activated just now, and it was like, oh no, she one of them. Her
Yeah.
ancestors is not our ancestors. She right, she is half white, but not like left to right, like inside and out. Like, you know what I'm saying? Her inside is definitely like her mama. So it's cool. That was getting crazy. I'm good. I'm
That's
good
some
on that.
crazy. You cool with identifying yourself as a half breed mule? What the fuck? Like that's some crazy shit. Who is this
Yo,
person?
she really
Come on.
said that. Wow. Like a sadomasochistic relationship. Like that's like another level. That's somebody that enjoys it. Um, you know, it's kind of
She
wild.
probably engages
It's
in.
kind of wild. It's like Stockholm syndrome.
That's
I know.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. That be them ones. That's them Doja Cats. That's one of them Doja Cats. Oh my goodness.
Can't save them all.
Mm-mm.
So we're gonna move on from
Well,
that circus. But
you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Cause
Mm-hmm.
we was doing too much labor up here. If you was black, we wouldn't have had to do half of that. Not even nowhere near a quarter of that work. We up here working. It's a whole snowplow. We got a whole job to do, bro. It's like it was a blizzard coming from a black sky. What in the world?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. And then as soon as we cleared the path, the snow fell right from the roof, right back down on the path again, bro. Like that made no
Some
sense.
things, some things don't even have to be explained for real. If you identify with the people group that's being harmed, then like that would have shown right there, like you obviously internally don't consider yourself the same as us, and it comes off as very like arrogant. You know what I'm saying? It comes off very like she deems herself superior, like better in some way. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it comes with a
Yeah.
privilege. Because what you're doing comes with privilege. That's why. What you're doing comes with like real world privilege over monoracial or even more African phenotypically presenting people. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
you're coming up here reclaiming things that we've already expressed that was harmful and wrong. And not only for you to have been checked, but for you to continue after that, she went from 2 to 1 on me. We have a new
Yeah.
system, y'all. We have a new system. You could tell someone's level of consciousness. We got, some people that, they have been told better and they refuse to do so. Those rhyme with raccoon. And then you got people that are, um, the type of person that don't know no better, but still emotionally aligns mostly with white tea supremacy in some way, be it patriarchy, misogyny, capitalism, whatever, right? So you got people that deliberately do stuff, and then you got people that don't know no better, right? She went from someone that didn't know no better to being corrected and now making the choice to do further harm. So that
Mm-hmm.
right there is just it's too malicious. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? She just said in the chat, this is the third live I got kicked off of today. But when she first came up here, this is the first live I've ever been in. Like, yeah, little lying ass. All right. So we're going to move on. But,
You feel me?
yeah.
It's wild, man. The people you will find on
First of
TikTok.
all, that's a first class Nebra. I saw her in the other chat earlier.
Mm-hmm.
What?
She been on chats all day. I
Oh, you
think
said Nebra? So I'm like, what? I thought she
hmm
was. Yeah, nah, yeah. So according to my theory, she's a type one, just really gonna continue down that path. You know, you already been corrected. It's really sad. Um, I'm about to go, y'all. Oh, Timothy bringing people up
what you
here.
do.
My bad. Sorry. You want me to?
Deanna, give us your age, race, and pronouns.
Black 35, her, she, her. I
All
just
right.
want to say mulatto, this and the thing is, let me answer the thing in the back. No, you cannot be pro-black and date outside your race. That's point blank period. If you are pro-black, you're going to stick with us. You're going to build the community. That is what it is. Mulatto, um, even Mulatto, the real rapper who got made money off it, changed her name because she knew it was problematic. So you can't be pro-black and be claiming proud to say mulatto. Also, that was a slave thing. The masters was raping the black women and having
Be
mulatto
careful on
babies.
TikTok, sister.
I'm sorry, what you say?
Be careful with certain
Okay, I'm
violent.
sorry. Okay. The slave masters was taking advantage of our ancestors, and that's how they got a mulatto child. So to be proud of that and put that in your name is just beyond crazy to me. Also, she kept talking about the princess and the frog. The only black princess was a frog most of the movie. They did not want to see the black princess and the frog be the whole black woman through the whole movie. So she going back and forth about the Disney princess. We can name 40 white princesses, but you can name one, and we know her as a princess and a frog, and Tiana was a frog most of the movie. So a lot of stuff that she was saying, I don't agree with it. She sound very unintelligent, if you will. And a lot of these white tees and mixed people, it's not that they don't know better, it's that they don't want to do better because they can't relate to us. So they just like, y'all struggles or what we go through doesn't matter to them. So the stuff that she was saying, I think she just probably wanted attention and she got it, but I'm glad y'all booted her off because y'all have a lot of more patience with people than I. That's why I don't really go live because my patience, I get kicked out and banned right then because you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
mulatto is problematic. She know what it is, and she comparing it to the N word. Is baby do better? I see you still in the comments, but you welcome to DM me because me and you could go back and forth if you would like.
Mm, mm, mm. All
Like
right. Well, thank you, Deanna.
no problem.
I think honestly she doesn't want to understand where we're coming from because the goal is to come up here and get rejected from our community because maybe getting rejected by black people helps them feel a little bit closer to white, which is what they're trying so hard to do. You know, like to me, it felt like um, choosing to do something that's harmful after you've already been told. Now it's kind of like, what do you get out of this? You know, it's just a TikTok username. Like now you're getting something out of this. Otherwise, you wouldn't keep doing it. So, what are you getting out of it? Oh, the rejection, and you know, upsetting black people by using harmful words. So you know, it just seems like that's something they use to replace a proximity to whiteness. Is to say, I'm not black or white, no one loves me, but really, all the time, they're just trying to say, I'm not like the rest of y'all.
Yeah, she is like she tried to store herself so far away from black people, but at the end of the day, Miss Mulatto, if you get pulled over by the cops, you're gonna probably most likely be black to them. They're not gonna be like, is your mama white or is your daddy black? You're gonna be black, honey. So you saying you mulatto and trying to feel like you, whatever the case may be, to make her feel better about herself. At the end of the day, when you come around the police, if you don't look like them or that woman in that picture, you're gonna be a black person.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry to tell you though. I know that's probably not what she wanted to hear, but that is what it's
Oh,
going to be.
baby, that's not what that means, love. You need to go Google the word.
Yeah, she is not what it means. I don't know what she thinks it means, but go get it tatted and then walk
No,
around with it.
listen, yo, she knows exactly, like, based off of the conversation we just had and what everybody's talking about and her being in multiple spaces, she knows exactly what it means and she likes it. That is
That's what I'm trying to say. Like we're
yo,
beyond. Like, this is someone that's, yes, they're kicking me out. Yes, I'm not one of you. Oh, oh. See, now I can say that they rejected me. I went in 4 lives today, and black people rejected me. Oh, I'm not one of them. Whew, I knew it. Last place anxiety.
Yep.
But
That's exactly what they do. That's exactly what you said it very sarcastically, but it's spot on. They say we reject them, but we're not rejecting y'all. Y'all
We
don't want to
reject
come in our
ourselves.
space.
exactly. Because black people done rejected me a whole bunch of times. And I ain't never turned into nothing else but black. So,
And more black.
mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You closing down?
Yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go to sleep. Appreciate y'all.
Y'all have a good night. Thank you for letting me up.
Absolutely, sister. Thanks for coming up.
B1initiative.org.
B1initiative.org. Link is in the bio. Check
Appreciate
out
you,
our
family.
project, Sunkofopedia. Videos pinned on my profile. Good night.
Good
Peace.
night.